Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 4 math. You can find all the lessons on a+students.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password as provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 4 math and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter fractions, equivalence, and ordering. The lessons we're going to cover today are compare fractions with like numerators or denominators, compare fractions using models, benchmark fractions, and compare fractions. Please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. I'm grade 4 math. Chapter we're on right now is fractions, equivalence, and ordering. Let's just start with the lesson that is compare fractions with like numerators or denominators. I'm going to start with the test question. Which fraction is greater? 1 by 3 and 2 by 3. So when the fractions have like numerators, that is like denominators, that is very easy to compare them because they have the same denominator. You just have to look at the numerator, right? 1 by 3, 2 by 3. Since they have the like numerator, they have the like denominator. Just look at their numerators. Here you have 1, here you have 2. So 2 is greater than 2 by 3 is greater than 1 over 3. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 2 by 3 is greater. In case when they have the like denominators, you have to compare their numerators. The greater number is the greater fraction, right? The greater numerator means that is the greater fraction. Which fraction is less? 6 by 8, 5 by 8. Which is the correct option? So again, both the fractions have exactly the same denominator. Mm. 5 by 8 is less than 6 by 8 because both the fractions are exactly same denominator. Just look at their numerator. 5 is smaller than 6, so 5 by 8 is less fraction, right? Which fraction is greater? 2 by 4, 1 by 4. Which is the correct option? The greater. So option number 1 is the correct option. The one that has the greater numerator is greater. So 2 by 4 is greater. Which fraction is less? 3 by 8, 1 by 8. The less, so 1 by 8 is less than 3 by 8, right? Option number 2 is the correct option. Which fraction is less? 1 by 6, 3 by 6. Which is the correct option? So 3 by 6 is bigger than 1 by 6, right? The given is 3 by 6. One by 6 is less than 2 by 6. Option number 1 is the correct option. Mm. 3 by 6 is less than 4 by 6. Option number 2 is the correct option. Which fraction is greater? 6 by 8, 3 by 8. 6 by 8 is given 3 by 8. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself today. Let me just move on to the next lesson. Which fraction is greater, 4/6 or 5/6? I buy 6 weeks later. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself. You could say, let me just move on to the next lesson. The next lesson is compare fractions using models. So, comparing fractions with models is really easy. The fraction that has more portion color than the other one is a greater fraction. So 9 by 10 is a greater portion color than 9 by 12. So 9 by 12 is less than 9 over 10. Let's just start with the test questions. Which fraction is less? So 3 by 5 is less than 4 by 5 because that when you have smaller portion colored. Which fraction is greater? 1 by 8, 1 by 3. Which fraction is greater? So the one that has the more portion colored is greater. 1 by 3 is greater than 1 over here. Option number 1 by 8 is 1 by 3 is 1 by 3 is greater than 1 by 8. Which fraction is less? 1 by 2, 1 by 10. Less. So 1 by 10 is less than 1 over 2. So if you have to compare the fractions with unless kilometers, that is the easiest way to do. So 1 by 2 is less than 1 by, sorry, 1 by 10 is less than 1 by 2. Which fraction is greater, 1/5, 3/5? Three-fifth is greater, right? Because three-fifth has more portion color than the other fractions, or 3/5 is greater. Which fraction is greater, 3/4 and 1/4? Three over four has the most portion color than 1/4. So 3/4 option one is the correct option. Which fraction is less, 9/10, 9/12? That is 9/10. No, you have to give them less. 9/12 meters. So when they have the micrometers, that is very easy to compare them. And if they do not have micrometers, just make the figure and see which one has most portion color, right? Let's just start with the next lesson. That is compare fractions using models. Which fraction is less? 3/5, 4/5. 3/5 is less than 4/5. Option number one is the correct option. So the greater one is 1/3. Option number two is the correct option. Which fraction is less? 1 to 1/10. So 1/2 is, we have to see which one is less. That is 1/10. Which fraction is greater? 1/5, 3/5. Which is greater? Very good. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. That is exactly the same you just did, right? That's why I'm moving to the next lesson. The next lesson is compare fractions. Again, same lesson. That is, I forgot the one. That is benchmark fractions. Let's just start with the test questions, then I will explain. Mhm. Which benchmark is between 3/4 and 5/4? So you have to see which one is between 3/4 and 5/4. That is one. How? When you compare 3/4 to 1, 3/4 is less than 1. And when you compare 5/4 to 1, that will be greater than 1. Why? If the numerator is greater than the denominator, like 5 is greater than 4, that means that is greater than 1, right? 5 over 4, if numerator is greater than denominator, then the fraction is greater than 1. So 5/4 is greater than 1. So that means 3/4 is less than 1, but 5/4 is greater than 1. Option number 3 is correct. Okay, let's just start with the test questions. Which benchmark is between 2/3 and 1/3? Okay, so 2/3 and 1/3. So 2/3 is less than 1 and 1/3, they both are less than 1. Look at the 2/3 is greater than half, but 1/3 is less than half. So that means then the benchmark between 2/3 and 1/3 is 1 over 2. Which benchmark is between 2/3 and 3/5 and 2/3? That is half. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 1 over 2. Option number 1 is the correct option. Which benchmark is between 7/5 and 3/5? 7 by 5 and 3 by 5. 7 by 5. Numerator is greater than denominator. That means the fraction is greater than 1. So the benchmark is 1. 7 by 5 is greater than 1. And 3 by 5 is less than 1. Option number 2 is the correct option. Which benchmark is between 4 by 3 and 2 by 3? So the benchmark between 2 by 3 and 4 by 3 is 1. Option number 2 is the correct option. Which is the correct option? That is 1. Option number 2 is the correct option. Mm. That is 1 over 2. Option number 1 is the correct option. Which benchmark is between 2 by 8 and 6 by 8? Which benchmark is between 2 by 8 and 6 by 8? The benchmark is 1 over 2. Option number 1 is the correct option. Which benchmark is between 7 by 6 and 5 by 6? Seven over 8. 7 over 6. Numerator is greater than denominator. So that is between 7 by 6 and 5 by 6 is between 1. The benchmark is 1. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is one option. Number two is the correct option. Which benchmark is between 2 by 6 and 5 by 6?